What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So as you saw in the last video, we're working on the Cobra. So I got the engine bay majority of the way ready to get the motor put in. I got to take the H pipe off there because if you look, this one's actually for like the stock manifolds, but the motor actually has long tube headers on it, which we're going to keep because unfortunately, I don't have the stock manifolds. So I'm gonna have to get a long tube H pipe or X pipe, whatever I have. I probably have one, I just gotta find it, get that put on, and then we should be in good shape with that. So in order to get this motor in, well, I mean, I could put the motor in, trans down, motor in, whatever, but it's actually easier just to drop the K-member and then do all that. That was the whole purpose of not hooking up the brakes like you saw in the last video. So that's what we're gonna do. So in order to do that, really all I gotta do, I'm gonna drop the exhaust out the way just so it's out of the way. I need to drop the struts down. Well, shocks technically, not struts because they're not a coilover type, whatever. It's a spring and shock setup. So, but the spring will actually stay in the bucket. It might do a little catawampus type thing like that, but that's not a big deal. So unbolt the shock, unbolt 2 bolts here, 2 bolts down there, and then same on this side. And then I need to unhook the steering shaft right here. Once I do that, the whole front K-member will drop down with the rack, with the wheels, with the springs, with the shocks. Everything will just drop. I do need to get this K-member off of here. I'm not 100% sure that it's bent. I was gonna just use it, but the car that I got it out of was a little wonky, and I just don't want to take the chance of this being bent, especially with this car. Like it's basically just going back to stock. I don't need to have a tubular K-member in there. It really serves no purpose for a street car, and I'm not changing the struts and springs because that was the other reason. If I put the tubular one in there, I'd have to get coilovers, which I'm not doing. I'm just gonna keep it the stock and spring setup so I can keep all that. So pretty sure this is good. You know, if I end up probably just throwing it on Marketplace, I'm gonna buy it and then be good to go. You know, if it is a little bent, I'm sure it could be straightened, whatever. So that'll go on Marketplace, get out of my face, and see you later. Or I'll cut it up and throw it in a scrap car. Either way, I wanna get this thing ready for the motor to get put in it. Unfortunately, it is now Monday, and unfortunately, my buddy Charlie got sick. There's this bug going around, and he got it. So his tummy's hurting. So I'm gonna get as much done as I can in this video. He did get the bug, but he said he is feeling better, so he'll probably be here tomorrow or whatever. So this will most likely be in the car and hopefully, cross your fingers for me, guys, hopefully be running in this video, which would be sick. So I'm really hoping that that works. So with that being said, let's get to taking some stuff apart so that I can get this motor ready. I think what I'm gonna do is let that hang off the engine stand. Shout out to Brian for letting me borrow your engine crane because mine back there in the corner still don't work. So thank you, Brian, for that. And yeah, let's get this thing up in the air, get this K-member dropped out, get this one dropped out, and then get all the things and stuff gone. Okay, so I got the H pipe off. As you can see, they deleted the cats and stuff like that and just welded in some pipe, which is fine. A lot of people do that. But this one's just not going to work because of these ends here aren't long enough. The one that I'm going to need is going to start down here, basically. So I just tied the exhaust up out the way for now because I actually need to lower the rear. And I figured once I put mufflers and stuff on this, like I'll just do it all at once. I'll drop this and I'll put the other ones back on it at the same time. So I got all that out the way here. And then I got the K-member off of the engine here. So I got the jack stand, the engine crane, just kind of letting it balance right there right now. I think it is a little tweaked, so I think I'm not gonna try to sell this to somebody. As you can see, it's not really level. It's pretty bent. Could somebody straighten it? For sure. Who knows? But I really don't want to set somebody up for failure. I mean, if their chassis is straight, it'll probably be fine. It'll probably suck itself up and tweak back into place. But I don't know. Maybe I'll tell somebody, hey, it is slightly bent. If you want to fix it, it's this much. Because I think these things are like $400 new. So if someone gave me like 50 bucks, 100 bucks, something like that, and then good to go. But so all that's done. I got all that off. Basically, all I need to do now is drop this one, get the engine on this one somehow, which is going to be fun because there's not a lot of places to chain these up. So I have to figure that out and get creative. But I need to get this engine on this K member under the car, and then I can put it back up in there and go from there. Again, fortunately, my buddy Charlie, he is not feeling good, so he probably won't be here for this, but he will give me some help eventually once he feels better. So Charlie, if you're watching, hope you feel better, buddy, but we will get some stuff done. So I'm gonna work on getting all this stuff down and getting some stuff unbolted. All right, well, got the K member out of the car. As you can see there, it's now out, just laying there. So what I'm gonna try to do is get the engine onto the K frame and then just kind of put it on jack stands and stuff and lower the car down onto the engine like you see a lot of people do. It's really not hard. And honestly, with this big bulky engine of I think it's a 4-valve or something. It's huge. Like, it's a big bulbous engine. It's just kind of a pain to get it in there like how normal people do, like up from the top and then slide it in, whatever. It's just 1,000 times easier. It's literally 2, 4, 8 bolts and the whole thing drops basically. So I'm gonna get this thing resting on here so that way when Charlie does come, probably tomorrow, it'll be ready to drop down. It's easier with a second set of eyes when I'm working the lift, and then he can adjust it and whatever. So I at least want to get it more set up for that. So it's just easier that way. So I'm gonna work on getting that done, and then it would be sweet to really hear this thing. I'm really getting pumped up that there's light at the end of the tunnel with this thing. So, all right, well, I'm gonna finagle this stuff and try to not drop anything. Well, that kind of kicked my ass, I'm not gonna lie, being here by myself. I know I should have just waited, but I'm not. You know, if you ever start getting in the groove of something, it doesn't really work out that way. So I got the wheels on the carts and stuff so I can wiggle it back and forth. I got the jack here so I can move it. I think what I'm going to do is lower it down as close as I think I can get it by myself. If I start struggling too much, I'm going to stop and wait till tomorrow till Charlie gets here. But I would love to get this thing up in there, at least close. So I got the engine stand here. I'm going to, once it gets lower, get this over top into the engine to hold it, just to, you know, give it a little extra support, even though, I mean, it's on the ground. It's literally, motor mounts are on the K-frame, motor is on the K-frame, and it's in there. So I just want to kind of wiggle it in there and see what else I can really do. I spilled a little tranny fluid, which I don't know why it's pink. I think it might just be because it's really, really cold. So either way, we'll top off the trans fluid once it's in there and be good. So I think I'm going to lower this thing down. Yeah, I'm going to lower it down some. Boom! Just like that, it's in there. So it is bolted in, the motor mounts are in, the K-frame bolts are in, the trans mount is in, cross member, all that stuff. So now it's fuel lines and wiring harness and radiator and coolant and AC and drive shaft and exhaust and all that kind of stuff. So for right now though, because it's cold and I'm actually ready to go home, I think what I'm going to do is actually finish this up for the day and go home, get some rest, and then when Charlie gets here, we will get this thing all buttoned up. Now, a lot of you guys probably don't even know Charlie. So Charlie's my buddy that in the last video you guys saw that he was taking apart my CP4 pump. I've known him for probably 15 years, I think it's been. So he's been a Ford technician for a while, so he just knows these things. And I mean, so do I, but we worked out a deal where he actually got a transmission for his car from me out of that white parts car. And basically, I told him, I said, look, you help me get this Cobra running, driving, ready to rock, you can have the transmission. So instead of charging him money, I'm basically charging him labor, if that makes sense. So he's going to come, he's going to help me with this, get this buttoned up, and then we'll be square. So he will be here. You'll see him in the video. So that's who that is. I know some people might be like, who the hell's Charlie? Haven't seen him, don't know who he is. He's a friend of mine, so got a lot of friends. But I am going to button this up for the day and pick back up on this when Charlie gets here. All right, boys. Well, Charlie's here. I'm glad you feel better, buddy. Well, almost better.
Yeah.
You had the tummy bug, and you almost had an incident earlier. So, but Charlie's here now. We're going to start trying to button this up and see if we could get this thing to get some power and get it to crank over and hopefully fire, which would be sick. I'm really hoping that the fuel pump in this car is good. If it's not a big deal. We just drop 2 bands, put the other gas tank in this from the other car, and we'll be in good shape. So what do you think? I was kind of busy with the one day.
Well, I think if we get everything wired up the right way, it should fire right up.
Yeah, I sure hope so. So we're gonna start working on getting everything plugged in, put a battery on it, put jump box on it, and see what we got. We got to get the clutch cable hooked up, throttle cable hooked up, which that's pretty simple, and just kind of go through, make sure everything's plugged in. That's correct. I do got to make sure that there's an ECU in this thing, which I don't see why there wouldn't be, but there already wasn't an engine and a trans, so there's a chance there's not. So I'm gonna check that and get this thing buttoned up because I would love to hear this thing crank in this car. All right, so we got a lot of things plugged in. So what we're gonna do right now, we're about to check the oil, make sure that's good. We're gonna check the oil, make sure there's oil in it, and we're gonna hook a jump box up to it and just see if we have power and see if it cranks. So the clutch cable's not hooked up, which doesn't matter. You just need to have the clutch pedal down, and as long as it's in neutral.
Yes.
So the drive shaft is hooked up now. So we're gonna put a jump box on it, make sure it's in neutral, and just see if we can get anything, really.
I have faith.
You have faith. There's a few things not plugged in, but let's get the jump box real quick. I'm walking in circles, and we're gonna hook this thing up real quick and just see if we got something. See if we got some life in this thing, which would be badass if it is. So I'm gonna hook this up real quick. Did I drain the oil? It's dirty oil, but it's got
dirty,
oil.
but it's got oil in it. So that's all I want to see.
Really matters. Like I said, we're not gonna sit here and let this thing run right now. We just want to crank it and then turn it right back off.
Yep.
So, all right, let's see if this. We got clicking. It's dinging, which means we plugged something in right. Does this work? Interesting.
I hear the fuel pump.
Oh,
Might be the switch.
it's clicking, but it's not.
Yeah. Might be the
That one's going. You hear the fuel pump?
Yep.
It says it's got a half a tank of gas.
If it starts, cut it off.
I'm just gonna see if it does anything right now.
Nothing.
Can you mess with that cable? I might not be able to push the clutch down far enough. No, the clutch cable. See how on the firewall it's got a little weird spot? Is it in there flat?
Yeah.
I can't push the clutch all the way down.
All right, hold on. Do it again. Clutch going down further?
I think so. Yeah, the clutch is going down now. Is that harder when I push on it?
Let it go. Push it. Yep.
But it might not be. Huh. All right, we got some finagling to figure out, so we'll be right back. All right, so far we're trying to find some. Oh.
So we got a wiring issue somewhere.
So there's a wiring issue somewhere.
Yes.
Where?
We're going to find it. That's next.
Because in theory, right? So this car, it still has the factory key. Still has a factory ECU.
Did you ever look over there to see if there was actually an ECU in the car?
No.
Be honest with the people now.
No, I didn't look.
Okay, well why don't we look for that?
But would it do anything right now if there was no ECU?
Yeah, because it's still sending power out here, but the car doesn't know what to do without a PCM.
I should probably pop that trim.
You should probably pop that trim and see if there's an ECU over there.
All right, well, I'm going to check and see if there's an ECU, so we'll be right back. All right, so the ECU is in there. So that's good. That means the key and the ECU are all in cahoots together. I got some shit in here I need to get out. Jesus.
You do.
So, all right, let's try this again. I really think it's got a lot to do with that clutch. So obviously I'm not putting the clutch in.
Don't let the key go for a minute.
It goes away. The theft light goes away.
Or does it come back?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, we'll see if we have power on that red.
And blue wire.
It's either blue and red or red and blue.
All right, I'm gonna check this. All right, so we think we have a wiring issue, but just for the sake of the video, what I really want to do is Charlie jumped it earlier and had it cranking. So what I would love to do it real quick without the key on.
I don't think it will because I think that's too dead.
Nah, you just did it.
I ain't doing nothing.
Is that the same one you did?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's the exact same one I did.
Huh. Now it ain't doing nothing. So now we can't even do that. Well, I might be scratching this clip. Or maybe the key was on.
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's see it. Let me put the key in there.
No, nothing.
Huh. That's weird that you jumped it earlier, but now we've put fuses in it. So that's another thing we did. So there was a whole bunch of fuses in the car. Well, actually, there was no fuses in the car. The entire fuse box on the front, in front of the relays, were actually missing. So I put all of the fuses back in, the right orientation, all that stuff, hoping that maybe that was it, which so far it's not. But we're slowly but surely chasing this. Charlie might end up having to go home and grab his scanner, which will tell us everything this does, or everything that this is doing, if it's all reading correctly. So we're gonna fiddle with this a little bit more, and I'll pick back up in a second. What happened?
That's my fault.
What'd you do? What'd you do? Tell them.
I didn't plug the wire back in.
Okay, so the wire wasn't plugged in. So right now, so it cranks, but maybe battery's dying now. Well, the
Yes.
jump box.
Jump box is dying.
Jump box is dying now. But now, if you think about it, though, there's no fuel in the fuel line, so it might need a crank for a bit.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll hook the other jump box up. I would love to hear it fire. No matter how we do it, I want to hear it fire. All right, yeah, that jump box is dead, dude. Hold on, I'm not in there. Not in there to turn the key off. So we're gonna put another jump box on this thing and see if we can get this thing to fire. Like, I've heard the car run when it was in the other car, but just hearing it in this car is a big goal of mine. So we're gonna hook this jump box up real quick and see if we can get this thing to fire off. No matter, even though it's not the correct way as of right now, but I really want to hear it. So I gotta set this down so I can hook these up, and then we will see if we can hear it fire off. All right, so we now have two jump boxes, one kind of dead, one not dead at all. And key is on, and he is going to jump the starter. I'm gonna sit in here in case it fires up so that I can turn it off. Let me prime the system real quick, because we do hear the fuel pump, which is good. I hear it priming. I smell fuel. Could be bad fuel.
Could be bad fuel.
Oh.
How long's that fuel been in there?
Yes.
All right. That
Yep.
works too.
Exactly. That much. All right, well, let me get this key out. Ugh. Oh my God. Y'all can't smell it because obvious reasons, but it smells terrible. It smells like really bad gas. And that water, that's water. That's not fuel, so don't worry. But unfortunately, it sucks. We got some gremlins we got to work out. If anybody has ever done something like this, usually when it's within the same day or the same week of pulling the motor out, putting the motor in, you remember everything that needs to be plugged in. I don't, as you guys know. It's been
a month.
15, 20, no. It's been longer than that. This motor's been sitting a lot longer than that.
Okay.
It's probably been like 10, 15 videos.
Oh.
Which has been a few months.
I got you.
So this was pulled out a while back, and you guys can go back and tell me in the comments how long it's actually been, because I'm cold. So,
but seriously though, we will figure it out. We're gonna get the computer on here and see what it's not doing or what it needs to be doing that it's not doing.
well, we know what it needs to be doing. It needs to go.
But I'll figure it out.
But it's not doing that.
It's not. No, not even a little bit.
Yeah, it needs to do that. So it looks not great, but we're
will
trying to
get
get
it
it to
there
the
for
point.
sure.
I know the motor runs. I drove it in the other car, so I know that. But I want to hear it in this car. So, like I said, unfortunately, it's not running right this second. We are going to get it figured out. I actually have something that I'm going to be doing this weekend that has absolutely nothing to do with this car. So I am actually going to be getting rid of one of my cars. You have to wait till the next video to see. But I don't necessarily want to say I'm selling it. No,
I wouldn't say that either.
I'm not selling it. So I'm getting rid of one of my cars for something. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and maybe there will be a spoiler on someone else's channel. You never know, but we'll see. But I'm getting rid of a vehicle. It's not the truck, so don't worry. It's not the drift car, so don't worry. But I'm getting rid of something. So that being said, it's freezing here. I actually got to go get the heat working at my house. It's like 18 degrees right now, so it's freezing. So inside it's like 50, and with the kids and the dogs and the girl and everybody, like, we need heat. So we're about to go get that figured out. Charlie and I will be picking back up on this when I get back from my adventure, I'll say. And you guys will see in the next video what exactly I'm talking about. So again, I'm sorry that it's not running in this video, but it will be very soon. So with that, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, that would be sick. And Charlie,
See you later.